Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Blue Ribbon Lounge podcast.
Welcome back to the lounge here in fabulous, chilly Moline,
Deep
Illinois.
underground,
Yeah,
coming to you not alive, but not dead.
from the past,
You're present.
our future.
And we're glad you're here with us. We have a crazy, crazy episode. Maybe not crazy, but different.
Different, yes. It's November now, and by the time you hear this, we'll be deep into what I call no fun November,
Oh, okay.
or like no drinking November.
All right, yes.
So I don't drink that much, but in November I
Dave, dude,
don't drink at all.
you're like a fish.
Yeah,
You drink 100% more than me.
Um, but so I had the idea of to ask Matt and then invite a guest here straight from Florida, Mr. Eric.
Say
Howdy,
hello, Mr.
everybody.
Eric.
I'm doing great.
Yeah,
How's the weather down there in Florida?
I'd love to say it's beautiful, but it is. It's not, I can't lie to you guys. We're experiencing something a lot better than y'all up north. So,
yeah.
Yes.
So,
Oh,
so I met Eric through a film club
oh,
on the
okay.
internet,
Okay.
but it's kind of like a fight club. We can't really talk about it. But I figured just to get warmed up, since I know him from film club and he lives in Florida, I have two questions. Have you seen an alligator in the wild since living down there?
yes, absolutely. You guys want to hear the story?
Duh.
Okay. I'm getting a little bit older, so my eyes aren't as great as they used to be.
I like
my
where this is
job-
going.
My job is primarily desk bound, but I still, with the years of experience I have, been able to do a little bit of on-site work with some people. So I traveled west, and I'm located roughly central Florida. I traveled a little bit to the western part, a lot of swampland, a lot of water, but never really thought about it. Went to some people's place and did some work, and was coming back. And the sides of the roads, the roads down here are very weird in the rural areas. They're bordered by water. The ditches are just full of water.
Oh.
So basically, stay on the roads.
Yeah.
And I see some activity up the road, and I start slowing down. I'm thinking, what is that dog doing? Is it dragging something off the road? Why is that dog so long? And of course, I'm cruising really slow now, and I'm like, oh, that's not a dog.
No.
And this guy was probably 6 foot long, a good sized one for me.
Jeez.
He
For
just
anybody.
slides off into that water and swims down, and I took off. I wasn't interested in stopping taking a
Yeah.
picture or anything. And that was my one and only wild experience. That was as close as I ever want to be.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that's
So,
crazy.
so you said that was Western. Was that up in the Panhandle or just Western on the peninsula?
Just western in the peninsula.
Okay. I would guess, and I mean I don't know, and I don't know if you could tell me or not, but I would guess that like from the bottom of the Panhandle rounding around through the Gulf of Mexico, it is. I wonder if that's all kind of the same since it's like kind of bordering the same water. But it's interesting for it to have been because I would think it'd be like closer to, is it like Louisiana's down there?
Yeah.
But
Alabama.
on the Alabama,
Yeah.
but in the peninsula, that's good to know for next time I'm down there.
Yeah,
Well,
like I said, you have to be very careful. I've been told many times, if there is a body of water, there is live alligators in it.
Oof.
And I really don't want to test the theory. I'll accept that at face value.
All right. And then the second question is, have you seen any good movies lately?
Yes, actually, I have. I've kind of moved out of the territory of horror movies as I've gotten older. I get squeamish, but I watched a few in the month of October that were just really just knocked me back. I haven't watched, and of course, they were gruesome, but I was able to get through them. Bring Her Back was a fantastic by a couple. I think I want to say that they're brothers.
Yeah, I think they're
Correct.
Australian. Right?
Yeah, man. Some fantastic stuff put together, but boy, was it unsettling.
I've heard
And,
good
that
things
one I
about
watched-
that.
yeah, Bring Her Back was good. They did one a few years ago called Talk to Me.
Yeah, were they with the hand?
Yeah, that was pretty good too.
I watched
But
that one too.
this-
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, this one they really stepped up the gruesome factor in it. And I also watched Weapons recently too, which was actually pretty good.
I've heard good things about that too. I just don't have that all the streamers, so I haven't got to see those yet.
Yeah, if the thing is with streamers, if you don't have the ones with all the movies on it, wait a couple months and they'll roll them over.
Oh
That's
yeah.
usually what happens when they all seem to rotate the
Yeah.
same films.
So I'm a
Right.
big Stavros Halkias fan, and so I'm really excited to see this Begonia with Emma
Emma
Stone,
Stone, yeah.
and then the guy in it too. I've seen his face. I can't remember his name. He's not like the most famous dude, but he seemed like he did a good job. Jesse Plemons.
Oh, fantastic actor. I've been following him since Friday Night Lights series on well, I think that started on ABC and then flipped over to one of the streamers picked it up and
Yeah.
ran for several years. And he was a bit player in it. Just a
Okay.
skinny kid, and he's really a presence in movies nowadays.
Yeah, he reminds me of who's that guy? He was kind of like beat up looking, um, and he was in Along Came Polly. With I think it was Along Came Polly with
Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller. Yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
What?
he was kind of an overweight guy and kind of sloppy looking.
Oh,
I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Well, I know with Jesse Plemons, they often, well, for a long time, they referred to him as Matt Damon's younger brother, Meth Damon. So,
I can
I'm
see
like,
that.
well, no, he's actually stepped to his own. He's actually really accomplished these days. Seen
Philip
some neat
Seymour
stuff.
Hoffman is the guy I was thinking of.
Oh, man, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Man,
Oh
what a-
yeah,
I guess I can see that kind of that face, and he also has that like Matt Dillon or Matt Damon kind of mixture going
yeah,
on.
and like kind of this kind of stringy hair and a little bit of like methed out kind of looking, sloppy
A
kind of
little
look.
bit, yeah.
But and then have you guys seen the new Frankenstein?
I just watched it this weekend. What's
So
your
did
thoughts
I,
on
so did we.
it? What's your thoughts?
Oh, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good mix of like action with like the explosions and the fights. And then also it was like a bit of a different type of romance movie, I thought. And I'm no, film club
Yeah.
guy, but I enjoyed it.
I was really the first half an hour almost had me out. It was just I just could not get into it. It was
Mm,
just close to boring. And then when the creation thing happened, there's something changed in the tone of the film,
mm, I could see
and
that.
all of the acting elevated to a certain point. The interactions, the fellow that played the creature was just phenomenal. He we see a different character almost every time we see an iteration
Hmm.
of Frankenstein and his monster. This one, um, it was different enough that it was super captivating, and when that tone of the film changed, Oscar Isaac also stepped up to the plate and really put in just a great. I would call him in the father performance in this one. He was like a father.
And was that
Okay.
Victor?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. I really like him. And
Yeah.
is that Poe? I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Poe Dameron.
yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
really liked him in the film, and I can understand what you're talking about because like there's a little bit of like a romance, and he's kind of sciency and stuff in the first half,
Mhm.
and I can see where you could get bored with that for sure because it was a little bit too tropey. I thought, not to
It-
give any spoilers.
Right. Right. It did traditionally. And I've read the story a long time ago. There's a lot of depth in that story. There's a whole lot going on there. And that's nothing I've ever seen in any iteration of a film. A lot of entertainment, sure. And this one really came as close to it as getting into some of those kind of deeper issues about the whole Jeff Goldblum. They didn't stop to think, if they should
Yeah.
do it, type
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
Like the morality of it. And
Exactly.
that's Guillermo del Toro.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Who's also a favorite of mine.
Yeah. I just saw, speaking of streamers, that was on Netflix. So I was
Mhm.
actually thinking about watching that tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
That's
should.
yeah. That's where we watched it too. Good movie. I enjoyed it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. But what I gathered you guys here to talk about was Sobriety. because of the no fun November, the no drinks November. Um, the first question, how long have whoever wants to go first, have you guys been sober?
I can go first on that. My name is Matt, and I'm an alcoholic. I've been sober for what a hello. We're podcasting. Just so you know, love you. Uh, so I've been sober for a year and like 3/4 of a year. Was it 9 months? A year and 9 months? And was that the only question? How long?
Yeah,
Okay,
for
that's
right
it.
now. Yeah.
Fantastic, Matt. That's awesome. Awesome. Good job. I am about just a little under 4.5 years.
Wow,
Probably right at 4.5 years, actually, right now. Yeah.
that's great. Good job.
Thank you.
Do you guys remember the first time you got drunk?
I vaguely remember the first time I got drunk. I guess what's more instilled in my mind was the first time that alcohol really like fucked up my life.
Okay.
Because like, I mean, I'd like to think it's pretty normal to, sneak a couple of nips of your dad's stuff or your parents' liquor off the cabinet or whatever. And I remember one time I got really messed up, and I was like 16, and I had been, sneaking booze before this for a long time. And I was 16, had a car, had a license, and I drove across town, across two towns, to see if my buddy was home. He wasn't. I was gonna go back home, and I ran out of gas, and I was like skunk drunk. Pulled over on the median
Ooh.
of the road, and it was kind of like a highway type road. And left my door open and was walking to my buddy's house who was close, to have him help me get some gas and stuff. By the time I get back, the cops are there and they take me back to my mom's house. I was supposed to be at my dad's. I ended up puking all over the place. And my mom was very squeamish, so she couldn't clean up puke like my
Ooh.
entire life. So I was drunk. I had to clean up my own puke, and it was a pretty rough one. Didn't learn too much of a lesson, but that's the one that's most instilled in my mind.
Yeah.
First time, you see that thing, Matt's hitting on the same thing that I did, is growing up as I was always out with my dad. If he was barbecuing or working in the garage, sure, I'd sneak a drink for you. At first, he offered them to me. And then after a while, you start kind of taking a little liberty with it.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point, I don't know, I might have been 10, 11, and my dad drank Olympia, which was, for reference, really awful. It's horrible. But it was nectar when I was a kid. It was just wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
And I probably got really, really drunk at about 11 years old with my cousin who was the same age. And we were supposed to be staying at his dad's house. His dad went out partying, who was a kind of an influence on me too. And so we drank big time. We drank, I think, 6 or 7 Schlitz between two of us. And I threw up unbelievable amounts and smelled so bad the next day that I could not scrub it out of me. And for some reason, I was hooked, though. I mean, I felt horrible. I felt horrible for probably 2 days. And yet I came right back to it.
Yeah.
How about you, Dave? Do you remember?
I think I was about 13 or 14, and my friend, his parents would always go to Sturgis, the motorcycle rally every
Oh,
year.
okay, yeah.
And so he had older sisters, and one year they had a party, and they decided that because we were in junior high going into high school, that we were allowed. And so they bought us a bottle. There was like maybe 5 of us boys, like younger boys there. And then, yeah, we just split that. It was Southern Comfort. And to this day, I can't drink Southern Comfort. And I've only had it the one time mixed with Dr. Pepper. Yeah, I just remember like laying on the floor and looking under his couch because it was like in the middle of the room, and then seeing my friend's feet and then watching him throw up from under the couch. Like, But yeah, for some reason, even like Eric was saying, yeah, you feel so horrible the next day, but you're also like, well, that was kind of fun.
Yeah,
There was
that
a little
mo
bit, there was a little bit of power there. I don't know what it was, but it was that whole over the years you learn it's not really what it appears to be, but that whole feeling of confidence and
Mm.
I'm a big guy now. I can do
Yeah,
this.
like you're older, like sophisticated
Hmm.
somehow.
I'm
Yeah.
mature.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look
yeah.
how mature I am.
Watch me
Shot in my
drink Dad's
shoes.
vodka.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if this is too personal, but was there like a turning point or a point where you were like, okay, this is when I need to stop, or even like the time that maybe you didn't necessarily stop, but it planted that seed where you had to be like, okay, I got to start working towards the goal of not drinking anymore.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's tough for me. Um, there were times where I was like, "Oh, I gotta lay off this stuff." I was never like, "I'm gonna quit." But it'd be like, "I'm not gonna drink for like a week or a month," and as soon as that month rolled around, I was drinking again. Um, and I knew that I've had two DUIs, and I knew that alcohol was when it was fun, of course it was fun, but when it was bad, it was like pretty close to life-shattering bad. And I mean, my drinking progressed to where I was just kind of drinking alone in my basement, and I was never really a big blacker outer, but this last night that I drank, I blacked out and went to bed and don't remember puking all over the place, and the wife had to change the sheets, uh and she was just like, "Matt, you got to do something about this," like because I was in a bad mental state for a long time. Even before my second DUI, I was really a roller coaster of depression, and I think she saw me really going downhill, and that's when I decided to I personally, for me, when I quit drinking, I decided to go to AA, and I had been there a couple of times before, but this time I felt like I was really ready to give it a shot.
Okay.
For me, um, there was many of those times, like Matt was alluding to, where the times, well, maybe I need to take a closer look at this, or maybe I need to back off, or and to be honest, there's a lifetime of rationalizing that stuff for me. The one key moment was 4.5 years ago. Um, and this is going to sound weird, maybe even trite. I embarrassed my wife. I didn't. I didn't fly off in some crazy rage. I didn't steal a car. I didn't. I didn't dance naked in front of 100 people. I embarrassed her just by my actions and then not controlling myself. We had gone on a vacation trip, and she and I'd stayed a couple nights out, and her mother was flying in, and that we were going to join the rest of the family. We were going to go to a theme park the next day, and so she had to pick up her mom at the airport. And so I'm left at this hotel thinking, well, I've got a couple $100 cash. Let's go sit at the outdoor bar, which is always fun.
Yeah.
And
Always.
I sat at the outdoor bar, and I think you meet people. It's always part of the thing. Is you're friendly, because
Mm.
the booze is
The
flowing and
lubricant.
you're loosened up.
Yeah.
And I was downing Moscow mules like they had never been. There was no end to them.
Oh, dude, fancy.
And I'm telling you, shit, I can't. And I have vague recollections of the conversation of my wife calling me, and um, I was just not kind. I was unkind to her,
Mm.
and that the realization of that the next day. Of course, I definitely felt like ass, um,
Yeah.
but that was really almost kind of minor as to how bad I just felt about the whole thing.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I just said, I'm done. I'm done. Um, and I probably shouldn't have done it cold turkey because they say that can actually be dangerous, but I did. And I did try some sport groups and they didn't stick. And I just kind of whipped this thing on my own, so to speak.
Yeah. It's
That's impressive coming from somebody who is in a support group. It's impressive to be able to do it on your own, you know. And
It's impressive or foolhardy. I haven't figured out yet which, but I'm still here at 4.5 years. I'm still doing it, so I think I did something right.
yeah, and you kind of bring up a good point where like, you know, depending on how much you drink, it can be dangerous to quit cold turkey. I don't know any numbers or anything off the top of my head how many people you know, get hospitalized or die because of it,
Right.
because you get like tremors and stuff like that. And, um,
Because I think
but
that's what happened to Amy Winehouse, is
oh,
that she didn't die from the drugs and drinking. It's when she went cold turkey or something.
mm,
And
Yeah.
yeah, you should always probably consult a physician, or I don't know, look something up on the internet, maybe. I don't know.
It's probably not, and these are old things that I remember reading about. It's probably been 30, 40 years ago I read this. If you put 10 heroin addicts in a room and 10 alcoholics in a room and dry them, what's your survival rate? Survival rate is all the heroin addicts are going to live just fine. They're going to be sick, but they're going to be fine. Alcoholics, you're going to lose at least half of them.
oh wow,
Oof.
that's crazy.
And alcohol is insidious as far as the chemical and physiological effects on your organs and things like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do
Yeah.
alcohol.
Um, what was maybe the biggest hurdle for like the first step, or like to get going, to actually like, you know, start on some kind of routine or something, like to being sober?
For me, it was it was a lot of like somewhere between, um, I didn't think I could do anything but drink at some point. Like, like I wasn't worth anything except, you know, drinking my life away. And then there's also like an air of like, oh my gosh, I can't have a champagne at my kid's wedding. I can't, you know, you're making up a lot of excuses. Because, you know, like Mr. Eric was saying, it is hell on your body, but it's hell on your mind too. You know, at a point, I thought I needed it to be funny. I thought I needed it to have a good time. Um, and it became my best friend in a lot of ways because I could always count on it. I could get it anytime, anywhere. And it felt like I was losing my best friend when I stopped drinking. And I thought, you know, if I stop drinking, I can't hang out with my friends because they're going to be drinking. And am I going to be lame or are they going to be annoying? And there's a lot of caveats my mind went through um, when I was accepting that, you know, this was going to be the last time.
For me, when I when I decided that was it and that was done, I knew that that was the first of many changes I had to make, and I had to figure out how strong am I. I mean, because I know just the stopping part in itself, in and of itself, is hard, but it's not the entire battle. There's so much more to it. I had to um, kind of redefine my social outlets, which were nil since I've moved to Florida. I don't have a peer group, so basically I was doing most of my drinking alone. So if I was around people socially, I mean, if there was alcohol there, I figured I was just going to have to put it in its place, or I was just going to have to stay home.
Yeah.
I got my head around I guess my replacement drug of choice, whether it's a dry drunk or not, as I moved into exercising,
Mm.
and I've kind
Okay.
of just rolled that into uh, making sure that the damage I did to my body could be somewhat undone by me doing something positive for it for a change.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you say that because, you know, I've been trying really hard. Like, I know I have an addictive mind, And just about anything I do, I kind of overdo it, whether it be friendships or eating or video games, watching TV, drinking. Um, and I was worried about almost the opposite of what you said. I was worried about like, oh, I'm going to stop drinking, but I'm just going to eat all the time or something like that. I thought I was going to roll it into another bad habit.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that too, because like there's the comedian Bill Burr, and he got sober, and he talked about how he kind of rolled his addiction into root beer floats,
Mm.
into like finding the right root beer and the perfect ice cream, and like, and I was kind of wondering, I know Eric, you said like exercise. I was wondering if maybe if there was a replacement that you saw, like drinking more coffee or maybe picking up smoking, that because I also know, not to sound trite, but like some people get addicted to like Jesus,
Mm.
like, and kind of replace booze with a different addiction that's maybe not so harmful.
Yeah, and that's kind of part of Alcoholics Anonymous is like you at first you just replace drinking and going to the bar with going to meetings. Um, and you know, it can, I think a lot of social stigma around Alcoholics Anonymous is that it's religious or culty. And certainly it can be, and certainly there's people that people are in everything that ruin it for the rest of us. But it doesn't have to be. It's a good way to start. They say, if you're wanting to quit, go to 90 meetings in 90 days. And it'll really break that habit. And I kind of forgot where I was going with that, but um, there are even root beer floats, is better probably for your body than drinking is.
Yeah. Okay. So, Eric, did you find yourself like substituting something in place of drinking?
Yeah, interestingly enough, I've been in the water industry for a long time, and I was like purified water. But when I stopped drinking, I I picked up sparkling water, and it seems to be my little treat for myself now.
Mm.
Okay.
I'll
Like,
get a Perrier or a what is it, a San Pellegrino, something like that.
okay.
It's something different, and nobody else really likes it, which makes it great for me because there's always more.
And you started working out?
Yeah, the working out was really a way to not just repair my body, but to kind of repair my mind a little bit, to maybe work on my focus a little bit, keep the focus off of the alcohol, keep the focus off of um, the spiral that I created in my own mind when I was drinking. Um, and it's not to say that anything you do too much of isn't great. I mean, I could, you can potentially go overboard with the exercise thing and just turn it into a problem as well. But
Yeah,
for
like
me, it's
those.
a real healthy outlet.
Yeah, you don't want to be one of those CrossFit bros.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, man. I visited a couple of those gyms, and yeah, I didn't know what to make of that. That's pretty different for sure.
Pukey the clown.
Ugh,
That can't
Oh,
be good for you.
yeah. Um, During like the first days or months of getting sober, did you guys find any like pushback, like friends or families or what you would call like enablers that would be like, "Oh, but you weren't that bad. Like, are you sure you just want to quit?" Was that a thing?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of times when I'm in a meeting, I'll talk about my experience being for the newcomer who's there, trying to find a new way. Like, my mom was always like that. And my mom's my biggest advocate. She doesn't want to see her little boy hurt in any way. But she wasn't around me all the time, as an adult. And so she was like, "Well, are you sure? I mean, people get DUIs and this and that." And at some point it was kind of like, this is my choice. I want to do this or try this or whatever, it may be. And, a lot of people were kind of shocked, but mostly, And especially, I don't know if you would, agree with this, Eric. But especially when you start getting time in, people are like, oh, wow, dude, that's so cool. That's great. And I think the stigma of AA or just not drinking in general, it has changed a lot, especially these younger generations. I mean, I feel like, instead of kids smoking, they're vaping, which it's just a change of
It's like a lateral move.
it's a lateral move, yeah, but or like even, a lot of younger kids are now, instead of drinking and partying, they're going to gyms and trying to start like online businesses and stuff, and that might not be so much of a lateral move, but generations change, and I feel like especially a lot of the younger generation that I'm around, nieces, nephews, younger kids, like at mine or my wife's works, that were around, are very supportive of it, and even older people in my life, around my age or older, they see it as, I think, one of two paths that either, like, good for me for picking something healthy and doing it. And also I hear sometimes like, oh, I could never do that, and it's not true. You just maybe haven't hit a rock bottom, or maybe you're not an alcoholic or something. But I think I have had interactions where it was enabling. Never, I always think of like the old phrase, like, I don't trust anybody who doesn't drink, and like,
Okay.
and that's like, that's so out of touch with the times, but I never ran into that. And it's been definitely mostly supportive.
I would definitely say I feel the same way. How I've identified how the older generations handled how they handled mostly anything, but anything that was problematic, alcoholism or abuse, even different things like that. Um, there was a fair amount of shame involved, and so people
Mm,
didn't talk about these things.
Yeah.
You hit it, and if, let's say, one man were to admit a weakness to another man, the other man would become embarrassed and turn away.
hmm
That's not really the case anymore. Women, men, I think I see a lot of people who are more generally supportive of self improvement, of fighting things that are just not good for you, finding a better way in life. And it may not be 100%, but I think we've definitely turned the corner as to where there's so much shame involved in alcoholism, and abuse, whether drug abuse or whatever. Those things are different. I can remember going to an AA meeting way back when my first DUI was in 1990.
Oh,
Yeah. And I had to go to AA, and of course it was the mandated one, so that's pretty. Those are really those are not really, you can't really get involved in it. Plus, I was not ready for that
Right.
mess.
Like CADs or something like that.
What's that?
Like CADs, like the court mandated kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
AA
exactly,
meeting. Yeah.
exactly.
And
It
those
was
people
just
that are
not.
there probably don't want to be there
You
that
know,
much.
there was a lot. There was a lot of hostility. There was a lot of
Yeah.
hostility, but
and the person hosting is probably getting paid to do it, and they're at a job.
well, I remember the lady that hosted it was a lady that I used to see at the bar. So
Oh.
I know you. This is not comfortable in any fashion. But nevertheless, there was in they have NA, which is also, I guess, a very good support group, but it was so widely untapped for a long period of time
Mhm.
that, again, the shame factor rode over into that too. Um, and even alcoholics were hard on the drug abusers. So in my small area, there was no NA, there was just AA.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I can remember a lady in the meeting uh, being forthright and admitting that her problem was drugs. It wasn't, it was cocaine. It didn't have anything to do with
Mm.
alcohol.
Yeah.
And a lot of the older generation just raked her over the coals. And it was a very hostile environment. And I can guarantee, I don't think you'd see that in any AA meeting nowadays. I think we've really turned the corner as far as the whole shame and blame and just negative aspects of addictions these days. And it's still a problem, but I think we're making headway.
Yeah, I mean, to go to your point, there's a lot of old timers at the group that I go to, and they talk about that exact thing, oh, you're not doing AA right, or you're not, committed enough to the program, or you're a Narcotics Anonymous is NA, and oh, you don't even need to be here. And like they were really rough with it,
Yeah.
And maybe like you were saying, if one guy gets emotional almost on any level to another man in the past or from a certain generation, there was some sort of guilt or shame, like, oh, he's quitting drinking. I guess I have to quit drinking now if these are the standards we're setting or something like that. Maybe a lot of fear. But these old timers now talk about that, and in no way are they like that anymore,
Yeah, because I was there's always that scene in Half Baked where the one guy's character goes to NA to get off weed, and they're like, "You're in here for weed," and they start berating him. Uh, did you ever feel like maybe you couldn't share why with anybody, like why you were quitting because you didn't want them to be like to think, I don't know, that your reason wasn't as good, or like you didn't go on a bender and crash a car and fight cops or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. Cause like mine was just, you know, pretty much one night of too much, like in the narrow focus, it was one night of too much drinking and then blacking out and puking and then being sober. But in the whole scope of things, like I did have a lot of fun drinking for sure. But like the times where it was bad it was just so bad financially, mentally, emotionally, physically. And when when you go down there, you certainly hear, so a lot of times you hear like crazy stories. Like my sponsor, the lat he had a lot of years of sobriety, went back to drinking, a lot of years of sobriety, went back like 20 years and then 10 years and then and now he's got 3. And the last time one of the last times that he quit drinking, like he had his gun and he shot it inside, and then like the local SWAT showed up
Oh,
and he was aiming it at the cops. He was trying to, I mean, essentially trying to murder by cops or
Yeah.
suicide by cops. And it's like by no means was I doing a lot of that. And there's other people that had other, people with liver failure and things like that. But it's not, you learn quickly that they're just like glad that you're there, if you're listen, if you're out there and you're listening and you're 21 and maybe you got a DUI or maybe you got drunk and cheated on your girlfriend or something, that can be enough,
Yeah.
from my experience personally, drink if you want, but the younger you are to be sober, or even reeling it back, or whatever, like I wish I could feel the way I do now when I was younger.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing to quit drinking, and you don't need a reason,
Okay. Were there any like side effects when you stopped drinking? Like irritability or insomnia or anything like that? Let's start with Eric.
yeah. And to be honest, I probably already had those things. So, you know, there was some. I've developed what's called essential tremors. Um, they're not persistent all the time, but my hands tremble, and they didn't used to. Um, I'm probably not going to make the firearms team this year, but it's just it's one of those things you figure I did enough damage over the years that I can't undo it in this, unless I have the same amount of time. Maybe less, but if it took me, 35 years of drinking to quit, well, then I'm not going to be finished healing for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally too. I mean, the stuff that you go through mentally, the self recriminations, and you're balancing that daily with the fact that I did this, I accomplished this, and then you have to balance it out with the fact that your voice is also telling you you could have done it years ago. Why? Why'd you waste all that time?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like, well, and that's one of the reasons why I really enjoyed the AA program. Um, like sometimes when I talk about it in meetings now, after having done all the steps, and to if newcomers are there, um, it's like for a long time I was looking at um, how do I change my life? Podcasts, books, shorts that are like mindful shorts or gratitude shorts on the internet.
Yeah.
Positivity. And I just felt like such a failure because I couldn't figure out how to feel better, especially about myself. And it really wasn't until I stopped drinking. I say it like this, like I had all these extension cords to plug in, these lights in my house, and I had just been trying for years and years to plug them all in. And it wasn't until I stopped drinking that I could figure out how to plug the lights in to make this stuff work. And a lot of it was like when I was drinking, I had crazy ideations of being famous or something, and now with these lights on, I'm like, and it's gonna sound silly, but it's like I don't need to be famous. I probably shouldn't be famous, but I have learned within my own life to be like, I do like art and creating things, and it would be good enough to be able to live a meager living on that kind of thing. So it really changes like your outlook on so many things. And in the program, you accept that you've made a lot of bad decisions. You realize that alcohol was a big part of it. And then you make a bunch of lists of like what you're afraid of, who you're angry at. And then you do a lot of like your side of the street cleaning,
Okay.
I'm mad at this guy for sleeping with my girlfriend. Well, maybe if I was treating my girlfriend a little bit better and not getting drunk all the time and being angry at her, then maybe she wouldn't have tried to sleep with this guy, or like taking
Bingo.
extreme
Yep.
ownership of things. And
Yeah.
then there's a step where, boy, I was drinking and borrowing money from my folks and never paid them back. Well, you go apologize and you work on paying that money back. Or if maybe you were drunk and you slept with this guy's wife and he hates you, and you got to face up to him, maybe his wife, and say, "I'm sorry, I did this to you." And I had to go through that kind of thing. And my lists weren't very long. I talked to guys who had pages and pages, but when you have to own up to some of the worst things you've ever done, it's tough.
Yeah.
And that in itself changes you. And that's what I needed too. Like I needed to clean up my own side of the street to see that, all this trash, I was living in emotional and mental trash. I am not a trash person. I was trying my best, and everybody did see that. Everybody saw that I was trying my hardest to be a good guy, but I couldn't until I cleared away a lot of that wreckage of the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely been an eye opener. And something I wanted to touch on really quick when you were talking about side effects. This isn't really a side effect, but one of the hardest things about quitting. Come on, cat. Off. One of the hardest things about quitting, for me, and the only thing that really kept a urge in my mind was the fact that anytime I go to the store, alcohol is there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I go to a drugstore, a grocery store, a gas station, think the local gas station down here has, they have drink and carry, and how that doesn't encourage the problems that we have, I don't know. That's beside the point. Well, the fact is, you've got a cooler. One says beer, the next one says more beer, the next one says endless beer, and I'm
Yeah.
like, no wonder we are in this problem these days. But my ownership is to see all three of those every day and walk past it and go over and get milk.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
I
you're
suppose
absolutely
that's a small part of ownership, I think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, if you're rich, you can buy a big expensive bottle of whiskey or something, but if you're drinking your life away and you're broke and you can scratch up $1, you can get a shooter. If you can
Mhm.
scratch up $3, you can get a tall boy and put a buzz on for an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, the it's hard because, I do think most people should be able to do whatever they want, but like kind of like these gambling things on your phone, the alcohol company wants you to drink more alcohol, so they'll make it as easy as possible. And that's a hard thing to face when you don't want to do it anymore.
It's crucial because it's not really. It may sound like a harsh comparison. If I were addicted to heroin and I quit, I wouldn't see that if I went to the grocery store.
Mm,
I wouldn't see that if I went to the drugstore.
Right.
yeah.
If I change the places that I go, I'd never have to see it again. But as an alcoholic, the places that I go that are normal in a person's life, it is present, and so it's doubly hard sometimes. And we are constantly with addictions. We are constantly rewiring the pathways in our brain that have been changed by the drinking over the years. So we're rewiring for a different way of thinking, but it's not easy because, again, I said we didn't wire them into alcoholism overnight. It took years to do it,
Mm.
so it takes a long time to undo it.
Yeah. Well, that kind of rules. I guess I'll go into this question since we were talking about like how you see it at the gas station or you see it here. I was driving home from work and there's a thing at the local museum where it's like history on tap, where they're having like an adult time at the museum and there's all these breweries coming and there's a guest speaker and stuff like that. And it almost like glamorizes it. Like, how do you feel about the media and like just advertising and like how they glamorize like alcohol and stuff like that?
Well, I think the majority of people aren't alcoholics, or I think there's a majority of people that are probably not even heavy drinkers. And I think that's kind of shown in these microbrews and distilleries and stuff, because I know a lot of people that can go and have like 8% beer and leave.
Yeah.
And that's just not how my mind works. Like my wife will drink a beer and then put it down half full and be like, "Ah, okay, I'm gonna go to bed." And I'm like, "You're not gonna finish that fucking beer?" There was a point in my life, and I was young and dumb, where I would finish like other people's drinks. Like, you're not gonna finish that? I'll finish that shit.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a great example of how it was just ruling my life. And I mean, drinking has been around for a long time, and if you can do it in a safe way and you want to do it in a safe way, because uh like I was saying, champagne at weddings and stuff like that, it can be a celebratory thing, but if you abuse it, then you kind of can't.
Alcohol seems like a stubborn mainstay as far as public perception and how it's presented culturally and in the media, especially.
Yeah.
When we think about smoking, I mean, you can watch old movies where the doctor was smoking in the hospital room,
Right.
or the stewardess was handing out cigarettes on the airplane. And we know that the cultural perception changed over years,
Mhm.
and that was no longer an acceptable thing to see, let alone do. And I wonder if is not to be conspiratorial, but how deep the tobacco lobby's pockets are, and yet we still have that shift. I
Mm.
wonder if we will see that shift also with alcohol, given time, because again, with smoking, it was more the debilitating physical effects that it was resulting in, and I think people stood up and saw that. With alcohol, I don't know, man. I that one's a little bit. It's more of a monolith, I guess, if that's the right word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think there is something to be said about like even when they made it illegal during Prohibition, people were doing it. They
Probably
have
more than that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They put on like the side of a pack of cigarettes like this can cause cancer and can kill you. I mean, how many people are in jail because of marijuana?
Yeah.
Like there is something within the human existence that people want to be a little out of their mind,
Right.
whether it's, you know, having a bunch of beers at a Pink Floyd concert or something, or, doing mushrooms, which are like a scheduled 9 drug or whatever. I don't know what the schedule are, but,
Yeah.
but it's like a schedule 1, I think is like the highest.
Yeah.
Um, and people still find a way to get and do them. And I think it's something. I almost wonder if it's societal, when you consider like pirates needed rum because the alcohol in it would allow it to not go stagnant.
Yeah. Your water to go back.
Yeah. Or like, you know, tribal peoples would, smash grapes with their feet or whatever and ferment it and drink it. And the difference between that and now is it is not a necessity, or it's not so hard to do that it becomes a celebratory thing. It's like you can just go any time of day, almost any time of day. So sometimes they do close it off.
Yeah.
But you can go and to the gas station right up the street and grab just about anything you want. So it's maybe it's not, it's still, people want it to be culturally the same, but capitalism and the way we live now could almost never allow it to have the same meanings that it has in the past. Does that make sense?
Kind of like more like the advertising is still making it look cool. And like Eric was saying, like cigarettes back in the day, you had Joe Camel and you had the Marlboro Man. And nowadays you have like the world's most interesting man, and you have even James Bond, shaken, not stirred. And like uh you listen to podcasts and they're pushing like Buffalo Trace whiskey and this. And so it kind of gives it that cool factor, that kind of, hey, this is what what's that, Mad Men, like
This is what real men do.
this is what men do, we sip whiskey or whatever. And so they kind of put that like glamour to it, I feel, where it's almost like they're trying to sell a product, but they're also kind of making it like ingrained into like the culture. Or
Yeah, because I mean these advertisements, you have a bunch of guys tailgating, and
yeah,
if you're gonna be at a sports game, you got to have a Bud Light,
right,
something like that.
It, that is part of the trap, I guess, is that it's like polished on one side, and you flip it over, and it's just not finished. It's rough. It's not good.
yeah,
It's let's show the guys tailgating at the football game having a great time, and then it'll cut to the image of the one kid that got too drunk and ended up in the hospital with alcohol poisoning.
right.
They don't do that, but that happens,
Mm-hmm.
and it's unfortunate it happens. But those things are not. Well, they are more prevalent nowadays. More people hear about it, more people see them, more people take notice of things like that.
Yeah.
And there have been commercials about, not drinking and driving.
Yeah, but like you don't watch a movie about the five guys going to a football game, tailgating, and then two of them are passed out on the sidewalk, and the other three go in. They don't show that part.
Yeah.
They just show them like, oh, we're good.
Dave, I have a good idea for a movie. I'll talk to you about it after the podcast.
Okay. Um, And kind of on that note, like, how do you guys have like any kind of like coping strategies or things that you use when you feel like tempted, or if you're like in a social situation where alcohol is present? Is there like, yeah, like not necessarily a strategy, but do you have like coping mechanisms in place? Maybe.
Eric, do you want to go first? I'm going to sound like a broken record on this one. So
Yeah, I mean, generally when I'm in and I'm not in social situations very often, so it's kind of, fortunate for me, but there are some situations. A few weeks back, I went to a birthday party for a friend of mine at the gym, obviously weightlifting group and all that. It was fun.
Yeah.
And I knew these guys were going to get smashed because I've talked to them before. And whenever the group of guys gets together, they get hammered. And I thought, you know what? I could not go and just not experience it and probably be fine. Or
Yeah.
maybe I should go and, it's been 4 years. Maybe I should try it and just see what this is like because I haven't really been in a heavy party situation. I'm also older too. So,
Yeah.
so I go and it was actually my coping mechanism. How I cope with it, and I even got asked a few times, Do you want some of this? Do you want? We're mixing this. We're mixing that. Do you want some of this?" And I was like, "No, no." I said I brought some extra water along. I'm fine with that. And I was able to kind of mold into the situation and not be I was afraid I was going to be apart from the crowd
Yeah.
because I wasn't drinking, and I wasn't. And I'm a socially awkward person, so I have to kind of inject myself into any conversation, anyways.
Yeah.
But I found that doing it was the same as what I do when I'm around sober people. And to be honest, we had some good conversations. A couple of guys were drunk and they got mouthy and all that, and that's fine. That didn't bother me. But how you deal with a situation like that is that for me, I just have to remember this is not me anymore. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, who I'm thinking about, who I'm stressing about having a problem is the old me. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy anymore. So this guy, this who I am now, this sober version of myself is okay with the situation. I can deal with this. Um, it's not all quite that easy, but that's how I have to approach it. And it
Yeah.
works.
yeah, going out for me does not look too much different from when I went out before when I was drinking. I I did take a lot of time off and I do make a lot of different choices when going out to drinking. Like I don't go to the bar alone, um, and stuff like that. But like after being sober for almost 2 years, um, I love music, so I almost need to go see music.
Yeah.
And like just this past weekend, my wife had a 12-year anniversary for Shop Abernathy's. Check them out, shopabernathy's.com. And um uh the One Night Standards played.
Yeah.
They didn't play our song. I should have sent them a message and be like, "Hey, can you learn this song?"
Get the
Because
song in there.
it's not one that they play a lot. Um but and there's some burlesque and they played the movie Death Proof on a big stage screen. And yeah, I just had water and if I go out to like a bar setting, I'll get a soda.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like I try not to drink a lot of soda. I drink too much for sure. But it's kind of like a treat.
Yeah.
But instead of alcohol, it's sugar. And it's got bubbles in it, and also it's way cheaper. You get free refills on soda pop.
Yeah.
Um, and yes, and so probably one of the biggest things that's different outside of just not drinking is I don't normally stay out as late. Like after this celebration for my wife's shop, a bunch of people went to this new bar down the street. They said it's pretty cool. And I was just like, I'm not going to go to that.
Yeah.
A lot of the things I do, I do more because what the activity is a hell yes for me,
Yeah.
as opposed to just going out willy-nilly anytime, just sitting at a bar or, to a show I don't even care about, or, um, you know, I have become a lot more selective in what I want to do because if I'm going to be around alcohol or people drinking, I want to make sure that I can have a good time. And then while I'm there, it's just, I just drink soda,
Yeah.
and I've never been shy about telling people that I'm sober, and a lot of that's helped that is that people are supportive. I still go to car shows. Car shows used to be just drink fest
Yeah.
for sure. I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, I would go to these car shows and people I don't know, I've never met them in my life, and they would just hand me a mason jar of clear liquid, and I would drink it.
Yeah.
And it's like some bullshit they made in their garage should probably make you go blind if you drink too much. And I'm just drinking this shit from people.
Yeah.
And now I drink sodas and I enjoy the music and I see all my friends and when they get too annoying, I'm just like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the bathroom," and I don't come back.
Yeah.
And just knowing, I mean, when you're sober, you know what your boundaries are, so
Yeah.
you don't have to tiptoe around. You don't have to do things you don't actually want to do. But and maybe this is more for our one younger listener. I don't know. I don't know if we have anybody under the age of 40 listening to this thing, but if you don't want to drink, you don't have to be lame.
Right.
And I would hope not. And if somebody calls you lame, they're probably not a real good friend. But you are in charge of your own personal enjoyment, and so don't do things that you don't enjoy. But you can still go out and enjoy the things you do.
Yeah. That makes sense because even like back in the day, maybe not with the Dare program, but just like my mom in general, like she's like, you're allowed to say no. And if someone's going to give you shit for saying no, then maybe they're not really your friend, But that was more towards marijuana and stuff like that. And even though I'm not like sober like you guys, there'll be times where I'm like, no, I don't want to drink or I don't, and I would say no. And I've never had a problem with the people I hang out with being like, oh, you're like, I mean, they might give me a little shit, but they're not gonna disown me.
Yeah, actually, me and Mr. Eric are gonna fucking start peer pressuring you to be sober.
Yeah.
Dave, you want a water? You want a pop? Let me get you a pop, dude.
Yeah.
And just one more thing to add, and maybe a question to Mr. Eric. Um, People a lot of times ask me if I do like NA beers. Personally, for me, I don't. I think that's a pretty slippery slope because and there are some triggering situations like having a bonfire really triggers me to want to have an ice cold beer. And even seeing the One Night Standers perform, I was like, man, this would be fucking good with a cold beer fucking right now. And so I don't fuck with NAs because I feel like it's a little too close. But I have fucked with non-alcoholic like virgin cocktails.
Yeah.
Because me and my wife, but
Like a Shirley Temple.
yeah, as Mr. Eric can see, my basement's kind of decorated up, kind of like you're on vacation. It's a tiki bar type situation, and that's one thing I haven't really explored on my own. I would love to, and what I would equate it to is like an energy drink bar.
Yeah.
I would love to make, fruity drinks that are non-alcoholic, a bit more. And I don't think for me personally that's pushing a boundary. Because when I would get fucked up, it was like beers and shots. And I mean, you add a couple of juices to a LaCroix and it can be, pretty fun.
Yeah.
But is that anything that you've had a problem with or been asked about or anything like that, Mr. Eric?
Do you mean like the NA beers or substitute?
Yeah.
No, I've not really entertained it. I think I'm on the same wavelength as far as it being a slippery slope. That being said, one of the things that's kind of a pitfall for me is that the reason that I can't go down that path is because, believe it or not, in my mind, I can still difference between rot gut whiskey and um, Heavenly Hill, or I can still taste the difference between Falstaff beer and uh, Sapporo. I can still taste that in my mind. And the thought of having something that is mimicking that, I just don't. I'm probably strong enough to handle it, but I don't. I don't go there.
Yeah.
I can understand that sentiment 100%.
And just for like the people listening, I know some people might use it in like a social situation. That way you don't look like the odd man out. So if you're still holding something that looks like a beer bottle, not a lot of people, you don't feel like people are looking at you or judging you for not like drinking.
Well, and yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people who aren't sober who drink NA beers,
Yeah.
like maybe they just want to have a beer, but they don't want to get fucked up. For me, I was like, why would I not want to get fucked up? But,
Yeah.
but yeah, and realistically, if you're just trying to cut back, I see no reason why not to just try that out every once in a while, even, or
Yeah.
something like that. I have nothing against NA beers, just
Sure.
personally, it is not something that I want to try.
Okay. And kind of on that same vein, what do you guys think about like the California sober, where pretty much you just don't drink, but you're still like maybe smoke pot or like microdosing mushrooms or whatever those kids out in California are doing?
Yeah, they say in AA they say, you're doing 100% a good job every day you don't drink and don't do drugs. And and I think I mean everybody is different. For me, I mean I quit smoking weed even before I quit drinking beer. And if my kid ends up listening to this, fucking, it was not too long. It was not too long before I quit drinking. Because after COVID, I got COVID and bronchitis in the same year,
Yeah.
and then every time I would hit some weed, I couldn't handle it. I just had a huge coughing fit, and the high of being stoned was just
Not worth.
it was not worth the coughing fit because it was every single hit every time, no matter how big, no matter how little. It was just a crazy coughing fit, and so yeah, so I quit weed before I quit drinking. The one thing I do miss mushrooms. I never really had an addictive personality to them, and maybe I'll try them again someday when I feel like I have a good reason to or something. But that's the one thing I really do miss.
For me, I would fall in that category. I've still partaken a little bit of the green um, since my sobriety started, and I'm doing it less on a recreational sense. It's fun. I mean, the strains they have nowadays are fantastic. You don't have to hit nearly as hard. Great stuff. For me, I have a whole lot of anxiety, and that tended to help.
Yeah.
As I've become more focused in my exercises and trying to get certain things done, I really have stepped back from even that occasional hit. So clean. There was also a couple of times where um, I hit a little heavy and I got that old loss of control feeling.
Hmm.
That was not comfortable.
Yeah.
And so I've really just kind of stepped back platform wise from anything. Um, it's just, it's a tightrope. It's a tightrope. And it's not to say that I'm not strong enough to stay on the rope, but the rope's small sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that sentiment sums a lot of how I feel about drinking and smoking and maybe not a lot of the hard like meth and heroin probably you shouldn't do at all.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think when I talk to people, I try. I hope it hasn't been sounding too bad, but I try not to get preachy. Like I have no qualms with telling people I'm sober, no qualms about telling people I'm in AA or anything like that or what I think. But I try not to be preachy because really it's about your own personal tightrope, whether it be food or weed or beer or shopping or gambling, anything that you're doing in excess is probably bad. And if you're doing it in excess, you should just take a step back and consider how your life is going with, or how it could go without it, or something like along
Yeah.
those lines. It's really just self introspection. I really liked how you put that.
And then, are there any myths or misconceptions about drinking that maybe you would like not like clear up, but like a big one? I know Matt said this before that some people think like, oh, you're sober. Is that boring? Like,
Yeah, I mean that's probably my number one biggest one is that if you think not drinking is boring, you're probably a boring person. Because I still do a lot of fun stuff. I mean, we do the podcast and I'm sober.
yeah,
Although I don't know if I've drank during the podcast, but I don't think I've ever been trashed doing it.
no,
I've gone to shows sober. I've went on dates with my wife. I've went, hung out with the boys. And also the other one is, AA is not a cult. If that's something that you need to, if you want to explore, and if you go, don't let any bad apples ruin the bunch. And if that's something you do want to talk more about, shoot us a message, shoot us an email, Blue Ribbon Lounge Moline at gmail.com. Or hit me up on Facebook through our Facebook group or something. Because, you know, people can ruin a good thing. But I would try not to, you know.
yeah,
I don't know about myths so far as it, again, a lot of my stuff is introspection oriented. Um, see, I used alcohol from an early age because of the aforementioned anxieties and the things like that. They've always been present in my life. And they just kind of help keep it at bay, I guess. Or so I thought. You know, it's, I guess it may have at first, and then you just rationalize it after a while.
right,
That it's keeping everything put in place. And then I thought, how am I going to function without it?
Mm.
How am I going to keep my fucking world from flying apart without, a few drinks in me to keep me even?
yeah,
And am I going to be weird? And then you wake up one day and you realize, well, I've always been fucking weird, and I'm going to continue to be weird. So I guess let's take that off the table and not worry about it. Let's move forward with something important. How can I improve my life by not having it? What's a conception about myself? Can I make an actual misconception? What's something that somebody thinks about me that I can actually change?
Mm.
And it's not just what other people think, but also what I'm thinking about myself.
yeah,
Yeah.
So, and I always thought that, if I didn't drink, whatever tenuous hold I had on a social life would just be lost because I am not very good at being social. Give me a couple of good guys to be around, a couple of good friends, I'm great. Get a crowd of people around, I kind of fade off. And I thought, well, without alcohol to basically buffer that, I'm going to fade into the background. And then you know what? 4.5 years later, the background's not so bad.
Yeah.
It's actually might actually be more populous and more exciting than it was before. And
Yeah.
I don't want to lie to you. There was a lot of good times when I was drinking. It wasn't all bad times.
yeah,
A lot of fun. I don't think I was what they call a bad drunk. I wasn't mean or anything like that. I just was out of control.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like what I was saying before, I felt like I needed to be the life of the party in so many situations. And now I'm fine just being somewhere and sitting down and being quiet, and it is a lot not like me. But yeah, I have been wanting to change the person who I am, and so it's the person I'm becoming. Also, kind of what we talked about before, I didn't crash my car and kill anybody, with with Mr. Eric's story about his last time drinking, you don't have to be a raging alcoholic to want to quit drinking. Whether it's for a month or whether it's forever, it can just be healthy. It could just, you can just try it. You don't need a reason.
Yeah.
But if you're exploring it, um, I think there's maybe not a good reason why not.
Okay.
No, it's like they're saying in AA, you have to admit to the fact that you are no longer in control, and
Hmm.
I wasn't.
Hmm.
Now, if a lot of people can drink and have their lives, that's awesome. And sometimes I wish I was one of those people, but I'm not. So, this is where I'm at. This is what I have to deal with.
Yeah.
That didn't really answer your question, Dave. So I
No,
apologize.
no, that's all right. That's all. They're all good. It's all good. And I guess I got like two more questions. How do you celebrate any mile markers? Like I've been sober for a year, or it's been 4 years, or I made it a month. Did you find yourself celebrating any of those? And maybe not even that, but like celebrations in general. Do you find you celebrate differently, or how do you celebrate? Because when you have liquor, you know, there's always going to be liquor at the graduation party. It's always there. You know, uh, one of my friends one time went through a program, and his wife came to get him, and she's like, "You did good, yeah." He's like, and they're like, "You want to celebrate?" And he's like, "How?" Kind of like. So I was just kind of asking, how do you guys celebrate?
I'd like to hear Mr. Eric's on this because I have some obvious ones with me going to AA, but I'd love to hear a little bit about Mr. Eric.
Well, as far as the actual, we say just regular celebrations or life events that you would find yourself having alcohol. Here's the thing about being an alcoholic is that everything can be a celebration if there's alcohol involved.
Mm.
Yeah.
Some lady wins $10,000 on the Price is Right. Well, I better open up a fucking beer. I mean, it's a good time. But as far as me rewarding myself for my sobriety, yeah, I do. And it's maybe not so much in things sometimes. Maybe it's just, I'll think about it on an odd day and I'll just look up on Google, how many days has it been since May 1st, 2021?
Yeah.
And I'll go out and I'll just post that on my Facebook or Instagram or whatever, just it's been that many days. And I don't even tell why, what, I'll just say, 1,480 days or something like that. And I can look at that and I think, man, I did that all on my own.
Yeah.
I really did this one on my own. And I said, that's great. And it's not easy for me to give myself props or feel good about myself. And that's from years of being an alcoholic. However, I can see that there's value in saying those things to myself now. That maybe that's I'm also getting older too, so I'm getting to be more of a stop. So, but
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like what you started off with, if you get that big promotion at work, it was a reason to drink. If you
yep.
don't get that big promotion at work, it was a reason to drink. You have a
Mm-hmm.
baby, you drink. If your mom dies, you drink. You'd make a reason for anything to drink.
Yeah.
And for just celebrations in general, we're pretty tight right now in the family. I just got a job. I don't know if I said that last podcast. But I was unemployed for a while. And, and we've been trying to be tighter on the budget in general. So a celebration is just, get some pizza, some soda
Mm-hmm.
pops
Yeah.
Good
and,
stuff.
yeah. And, or, if you, I just went to a surprise birthday party for a buddy, and I'm not drinking, but it was nice to be around people that I like and know and talk. And then in AA, you celebrate, your some places will celebrate one day. Some places will celebrate, and then it's usually like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 1 year, and then every increment of a year. So I've been in my first, like I call it a long chip
Yeah.
because I was getting them every couple of months within my first year, but going from year 1 to 2, it's your first long chip. And I mean, I go down there and I look forward to being sober. I look forward to being sober that day. I look forward to being sober the next day. I look forward to being sober for 2 years. And then plenty of people pick up, their 30 days or their 60 days or 90 days. And so it's always kind of a celebration. And, you give them a round of applause. They get to speak about their time and remind me what it was like when I did that. And, you, in AA, the group that I go to, they pass around a card. You get to sign something nice. And,
Yeah.
you know, celebrations are not drinking, I guess.
Okay. Well, even when I was asking the question, I'm like, well, yeah, you can just still have a party. There doesn't have to be alcohol there.
Yeah, but people think that,
Right.
like the question is accurate.
Right. And
Valid, definitely.
Yeah.
then the last question I have is if like one of our listeners or somebody is looking to get sober and maybe like some advice you wish you would have had or some advice that you could give, like what's one like good piece of advice for someone like looking to get sober?
You want to start this one, Mr. Eric?
Sure. And it's a little hard because it's different for everybody how they see things. But basically, you have to treat yourself like you would your own child. You have to be so kind and so patient. It's at times unreasonably hard to believe where you've been and where you want to go and to muster up the strength to do it. And the fact is that you can, but only if you believe it. So it's like you've done a lot of hard things in your life. You've never done anything this hard, but you've never done anything this rewarding either. So I don't know. True advice, it's kind of hard because you almost have to play it case by case.
Yeah.
And you kind of, if I were to talk to somebody, I would try to read them a little bit before I respond or say anything. I think that I think I've opened myself up a little bit. I was always considered myself fairly empathetic. I think I've become more so being sober. Well, I no longer have alcohol to quiet the voices in my head. So I mean, I hear everything too, but you want to be sure that when you're giving advice to somebody, that it fits the situation, because again, it's definitely not black and white anymore. Your life was black and white on alcohol.
Right.
And when you stop drinking, it is no longer black and white. It's not necessarily gray, but it's everything in between black and white. And you have to give yourself so much grace and be so patient with yourself. What you're attempting to do is something that some people can't.
Yeah.
That was beautiful, I thought. To be completely honest. Outside of anybody who has really abused themselves to the point of, liver damage or tremors or whatever, I would just say do it. If you're thinking about it, I think you should just do it. And whether that means, just quit as long as you can personally, or and then, if you quit and, in 3 days you're drinking again, just really think about that. You could only go 3 days. And if you want to quit, AA is a great resource. It's hard. The 12 steps are hard, but even if you went back out to drinking again, even if you are not an alcoholic, and even if your life does not depend on you quitting drinking, the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous are so impactful. Like, we often talk in my group, like, they should teach that shit in school, because I did not know how to forgive myself. I did not know how to, you know, fix all the regrets and resentments that I had in my life. I mean, even just, you know, maybe there's non drug related 12-step programs out there. I'm not sure.
There
But
are.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like find that book, like the AA program did for me what I could not do for myself.
Yeah.
And I, I mean, even to the point like I was a big street punk kid and I thought I was atheist and growing older, I found that I believed in a lot of things. Now, I don't often call that God, but in my meetings I don't shy away from the word anymore. I don't have a resentment towards that word, but I don't often call my higher power God. It's love and nature and space and other people. And if you are thinking about quitting drinking, I would try it.
Just give it a try.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you stop drinking and people say that you just have to make it to an X point of time, and I would tell anybody is that if you can make it 10 minutes with not drinking, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and say, I'm going to do the next 10 minutes. Pretty soon that 10 minutes turns into a half an hour. Then it turns into an hour. Then it turns 6 hours, that day, or whatever. But you have to start small. You have to start small.
Yeah. I know for me, doing like a sober October or like a no fun November or even like a dry January, just walking like through the grocery store, if you have to go through the liquor aisle or the liquor section, like just walking through and not picking anything up, just doing that, I feel like a little reward. Like that's a little hurdle that I had to go over to not like, ooh, I'm gonna grab some rum or oh, I'm gonna grab a beer, but just to walk through it and be like, no, and even might even just be that time. But if I can do it that time, then the next time, and then it like kind of gets easier the more you kind of walk through there and not do it.
Well, I'm the same way when I go to the store now. I'm 4.5 years into the sobriety, and I can now see it, and I can mentally look at it and go, well, there's 30 or $40 I just didn't spend. And
Yeah,
just move
that
on to the
too.
next aisle.
Yeah.
I feel good about that. I mean, because money's pretty precious these days.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel that too. Like when you go to the grocery store and you just need a couple things for dinner and it's like $20, but before it would have been like 40 because you added that bottle to it and all the stuff that goes with it, like the candy bar and maybe the pack of smokes too.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I think we're gonna cut her off there. Thank you so much, Mr. Eric, for stopping by. We really appreciate that.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, do you have any last words for the audience out there?
If anybody out there is thinking about getting sober, you can do it. If a broken down guy like me can do it, I know that you can do it. Anybody.
Yeah.
Anything is attainable.
Thanks so much and congratulations on your journey, dude. I really had a lot of fun listening to the things you had to say, especially, coming from the perspective of not doing a group and just doing it all on your own. I found a lot of your words very beautiful and inspiring.
Yeah, I got a
Well,
lot.
same to you, Matt. I hope to hear that you hit the same mark that I'm at right now,
Yes.
and more, and more.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I learned a lot from both of you guys. It was really good interview and podcast.
Say goodbye, Mr. Eric.
Have a good night.
Um, so from us to you folks out there, you time traveling beauties, thanks so much for stopping by. And remember, be good to yourself.
Yes, and a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step.
Oh, record.
Okay.
Um,